In 2020, TCU wide receiver Jalen Reagor was drafted in the first round, 21st overall by the Philadelphia Eagles. He quickly found himself shooting up fantasy draft boards everywhere, only to finish as wide receiver 90 overall. Who will be this year's version of Jalen Reagor? Stay tuned to the Fantasy Football Universe to find out. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Fantasy Football Universe. I am Aaron St. Dennis. Find me everywhere on social media at FFMadScientist. Next to me is Jeremy Schulman at FF_Rebel, and way down at the bottom is Jesse Moeller at JMoeller05. I'm disappointed, though. I've seen your avatar online so many times that when you wear a hat, I expected it to be on backwards, but yet still have a rim.
Both sides.
I love that AI. No, yeah, I love that AI where it's completely backward, but somehow still has a rim and is backward. It's wonderful what AI can do.
They sell those double-sided rimmed hats.
They do.
What he needs, man. For sure. Get you a nice FFU one, and we're in. Perfect.
Nice.
All right, welcome back. We are continuing on with our series looking at some of the rookies. This time it's the not-so-great ones. As you've gleaned from the title, this is the next Jalen Reagor. Basically what we're looking for here is a wide receiver who was, in the middle of the draft class, not really on the top of anyone's board, but not way off the board. And then he was overdrafted, well, drafted highly. In all these cases, the common theme is players who ended up being way overdrafted, much like Reagor was. He was 21st overall. I do believe that was before Justin Jefferson, so that worked out well. Yep, great pick there. And then they went on to just absolutely fucking bomb, and Reagor is the biggest example of that. So, before we get into it, I guess you could head over to fantasyfootballuniverse.com. We've got our rookie profiles out with the post-draft data in there, landing spots, draft capital, kind of a breakdown on how we feel about them. We've got some rookie mock draft type stuff out there with a view from each specific draft slot. I believe today is the 102, and it was mine. Started with Marvin Harrison Jr., so head over and check that out. And then once those are completed next week, we're going to be doing some rookie face-offs. Just kind of taking a look at two guys who could be, you're picking third overall and you've got the option of a Dunze versus Neighbors, comparing head-to-head, metric-wise, production, see who we'd go with, just help to make some of these on-the-clock decisions a little bit easier. And then I can just link them to my buddies so they'll stop fucking bothering me for advice while they're on the clock and just follow my article. Who do I take at 103? Well, I wrote an article on who I'd take at 103. Maybe go read it instead of bothering me while I'm at work. But we've digressed. Who do we want to start with, guys? Which one of you wants to go first? I'll bring up your player, but
sure. Let's talk about Malachi Corley. Let's just get this out.
All right. Jesse went with Malachi Corley, New York Jets receiver, selected 65th overall, checking in at 5'11", 210. He went in our last mock draft. I'll have to bring it up, but I believe it was the third round, and I think I took him. So you're gonna have a hard time selling me that Malachi Corley is a bust, you motherfucker. All right, talk away.
All right, so every time I've heard someone talk about Corley, it's broken tackles, it's landing spot, and it's all of that. It's like missed tackles force, and I'm like, why do I care about a wide receiver? What's up?
Go look at our last mock draft. You took him.
I know. I took him. I did. I took him. I took him like the third round. This is like whatever, right?
Okay,
but sometimes you gotta diversify. You look like an idiot when you take guys you don't want to. This is what I did. So
listen. While you talk, I'm going to play the highlight film. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay, there it is. Oh, yeah. The nice little, yeah, look at that. Just the 1 yard stop route. And then
what is that on Twitter? You could have told me and I brought it on screen. So you have blur on so that your phone was blurry already. Yeah.
No, don't worry. You didn't need, oh, look, there he is. Wait, hang on. Jesse, go ahead. Talk over this.
No, you're good. So he has one of the lowest ADOTs among the
guys. On full display.
6.2 yards per target. And then when you talk about him on the flip side, it's basically yards after catch and missed tackles force. And who do we always comp these guys to? Debo fucking Samuel. And then I tell you why that's a mistake. Because Debo Samuel can actually run routes and is a good wide receiver. The rest of these guys in this archetype are not. This is why I call Debo Samuel a unicorn. So if you're comparing someone to a unicorn, they better be fucking awesome. Malachi Corley, not that. he had a late breakout at a G5 school, Western Kentucky. So like this is a school where you're not playing among the elite teams. And what they did is they fed him the ball. It's true, but they fed him low 8-out targets behind the line of scrimmage instead of pushing this guy downfield, because maybe that's a lack of coaching, whatever it is. But if you're giving me a wide receiver similar to Rondale Moore when he came out, when his breakout, when everyone was like, oh, amazing breakout. Look at that. That's just a beautiful highlight tape. I love it. What can I tell you? He just has a lot working against him. And if you're going into an Aaron Rodgers-led offense, and if you can't run routes, you're going to piss Aaron Rodgers off real quick, right? Because we all talk about this narrative of him hating rookie wide receivers. So I know he's rooming with Malachi Corley, so there's a shower narrative there. If you really want to go do that, have fun with it. But yeah, I'm just not in on Malachi Corley at his cost. He scares me. His profile is not great. And yeah, that's a beautiful. I just love that. Like, why?
Great.
Can we talk about social media? Can we talk about social media posting that route and expecting anything?
I bet you he jumps up 6 picks at ADP today, though, just because people are
like, God, he looks good. Look at those quads, baby. Oh,
stop route.
Here's the thing, right? If you are rooming with Aaron Rodgers and you're running these routes, you're going to get about 100 targets in a season, and you're going to catch about 90 of them for
90 yards,
325 yards, right? So, like, even if that's the case in PPR, sign me out on Malachi Corley. I totally agree with you, Jesse. I mean, the fact is he's just a big yak guy, but he was a big yak guy at a smaller school against lesser competition, and it's just not going to translate as we want it to in the NFL. He needs to learn to develop routes. Hopefully Aaron Rodgers can train him, but in one off season, I don't care how many times they share a shower together or whatever you said, Jesse. I don't know if it's going to work out in Malachi's favor.
You're still holding the phone up. You really, he's going to end up going in the first round. Hey, because this is back-to-back days where the first day we had they live together and go to breakfast or whatever. So that moved him from the third round to the second round. Then today it's that lovely route you're showing all over Twitter. That's getting him. This guy's going to be going 104 pretty soon at this. The hype train's getting out of control. But
go ahead and hype him up to your Jets friends. Let them take him. Let them take the risky profile.
You have friends who are Jets fans?
I got family on the East Coast. Don't even get me started. They're loony bins.
Remember we did this? We did this 2 or 3 years ago and called Rondale Moore small Debo Samuel. How'd that work out?
Yeah,
not so great.
Hang on,
because can't run routes.
Jets account. This is what they put.
He's working. That's lovely. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's just working. You're asking him to do a lot, and I get it. Like, and even Joe Douglas called him raw from a route running perspective, and I'm like, yeah, because he didn't learn it. He was not good at it. Maybe he can develop it, but you're taking on serious risks with the player where you're taking him at. Like, I just don't like chasing that profile. It's just filled with landmines galore all over the place. So I would just say hands off from Malachi Corley personally.
Yeah. And I might be forgetting someone, but we got Garrett Wilson, obviously. We've got Alan Lazard, probably.
Mike Williams.
Tyler Conklin, probably. We've got Mike Williams, if
probably,
maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. We got Breece Hall, definitely. So all of those guys are going to out-target Malachi Corley. So, it is.
Yeah, like we're talking like he's the third option at best on the team, and we get into similar guys like Jermaine Burton in Cincinnati, my guy Jalen McMillan down in Tampa. Like these guys are in that similar path where they're the third option from the gate, and it's really hard to get better at that. So like people talk about him like he has a magical path, and I'm like, no, dude, there's still good players on that team. So I just don't think it's as good as people want it to believe it to be.
He's going at the 303 in rookie drafts. That's where you took him. I don't mind him. I was between. There's that little group there. Baker, Corley, McMillan, Burton went in a row. I don't mind any of them in the third round. The problem is with back-to-back hype videos here and how fucking stupid people are. This guy's going to be going in the middle of the second round. People are going to say, well, I don't like any of these running backs, so screw it. I'm just going to take Malachi Corley at the 206. But next up, we have Jeremy's guy, Brian Thomas Jr., LSU receiver, selected by Jacksonville in the first round, 23rd overall, 6'3", 209 pounds. So right off the bat, people are going to love him because he's a big dude, even though that's not really the profile the NFL is trending towards as of late. What are your thoughts here on Brian Thomas Jr., BTJ?
Okay, so here's the reason everybody's drafting him. Right, he was the 23rd overall draft pick, as Aaron mentioned. His RAS was a 997. He was 10th the 10th most athletic wide receiver prospect since they started measuring in 1987 with over 3,000 wide receivers. He caught 17 touchdowns last year from Heisman winning quarterback Jaden Daniels. He was an absolute beast. And then when we turned on the tape, it wasn't super impressive, right? You see all those things, you hear it, but you watch the tape and he's taking plays off. He's not like an engaged blocker, right? He doesn't want to do these things. And then, so that pushes him down our board a little bit. We say, maybe he's not end of the first, maybe he's beginning of the second round in rookie drafts. And then he gets drafted into a situation. Everyone's saying, okay, JSN bombed out in his first season because he had big receivers, target monsters in front of him. Rome Odunze has that potential. Brian Thomas Jr., it's a lesser tier, but he also has the potential to jump in and see fewer targets than we're expecting. I know he's a monster on the outside, but he is on the outside. When you have Christian Kirk work in the slot all over the field and work in the short to intermediate area, when you have Evan Ingram doing the same, who finished as tight end too, when you have Travis Etienne out of the backfield, I don't think they have the ability to, but they want to lessen his rushing game workload to increase his passing game reps, which they can't. They don't have anybody else there. Etienne's going to be on the field the whole time. And then, you have Gabe Davis, who was brought into town. I think Brian Thomas Jr. is certainly more athletic than any of these guys. And he's probably more talented than almost all of them, if not all of them. I think the problem that I'm having is we still haven't seen it from Trevor Lawrence yet, where he's been able to get to this elite level. He's been pretty good. He is developing. Jacksonville just hasn't been able to put it together. And my thoughts on this situation is that Brian Thomas is going to be kind of left out of the target situation. He's going to be at best third, but probably fourth behind those big three in Jacksonville of Kirk, Ingram, and Etienne. So I don't really see Lawrence developing this insane downfield connection with a big guy who can go up and get it. Now, can he get in the end zone a ton? Yes, but I'm not totally banking on that. They have plenty of guys there who can do that as well. So, that's my argument against it. But, he's this guy we expect to break out like Jalen Reagor. And for me, he'd be a massive bust if he didn't. I'm not taking him in the first round. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's my argument. My argument is a quick one against him. He's going at the 110, 110, 111, and he's poor man's Calvin Ridley. Need I say more? How about you, Jesse? What do you think?
He comps to the George Pickens of the world, and that's the type of player he is. So you have to know that profile going in. It's going to be boom bust. That's what he does. He did not break out until year 3. He had like 300 yards his first 2 seasons back to back, and then he had the massive jump in year 3. Like, I think his profile is tantalizing, and it also comes with the risks attached to it. I'm just realizing I probably should have picked Xavier Worthy as my bust guy in this category because I could make a better case against him. I know, just to see Jeremy cry a little bit, but we kind of with these guys, the late one profiles, people are so excited to draft them. I'm like, realistically, what's the projection? Does he give you 100 targets? Like, does he give you 80 to 100 targets, 500 yards, 6 touchdowns? Are you happy with that? Right. Would you consider that a bust? And I think a lot of people would say yes. So, like, I can see him being okay in this role. Like, I think he's better than Gabe Davis. I just think the role, I just don't think he's going to walk into, like we talk about, this magical 150 target season. Like, that's not happening anytime soon. He's not that type of player. So, it's an upward trajectory. I don't mind taking him in the late one, but yeah, there's significant risk on with you guys. Like, his profile is nowhere near clean.
One of the comparisons I did was your guy against my guy McConkey, and Brian Thomas Jr. won out of the two by default. It was looking at him and it was like, well, he had 3 years there, and it was like, 1 year of elite production. Well, the 1 year of elite production wasn't very elite. Like, Neighbors' production was elite that year. Brian Thomas Jr. was like, it was okay. And the only reason he won is because you look at Ladd McConkey, who would be my guy, and Ladd McConkey's best year was 700 yards. That's not elite either. So it's like, I don't mind him. He's someone I'd take a shot on in the second round of a rookie draft. Like, he's in the next group, I think, but I don't know why we've got him going at the end of the first round other than lack of options. I think everyone got so high on this rookie class or this wide receiver class that these guys are all bulletproof, when really I think the top 3 are awesome. After that, it's like 12 guys who are all coin flips. So
if you need production year 1, I would take McConkey. Like, I think he has the safest role. He's Like I would take him over Worthy too. Or I'm not 100% sold on both like Brian Thomas and Worthy. I think long-term projection, yeah. But if you need people in year one, take McConkey. Like he's getting to be production. Like you can lock that in.
I'm just not sold on any of them. And that brings us to my guy, who is Georgia receiver Ladd McConkey, selected at the start of the second round, 34th overall by the LA Chargers, 6 feet, 186 pounds. And every single one of these white slot receivers gets comps to the next Cooper Kupp because, I mean, could we be more stereotypical? But I mean, look at, we've got 3 years of production at Georgia. He didn't play in 2020. So he's got 31 catches, 447 yards, 1 touchdown. 58 catches, 762 yards, 2 touchdowns, 30 catches, 478, and 1 touchdown. So he's a combined 4 touchdowns in 3 years. For ballparking here, about 120 catches over 3 years and 1,600 yards. So like his 3-year production is probably equal to Rome Odunze's career year. It's not really great. So it's like, I don't hate him. He's a decent player that I want to be taking a shot on in the second or third round. But how he's at the point where he's going 111, 110 in drafts, I don't really want. The whole reason I was in on McConkey early was because he was this late second round pick. I know, like, I see all these receivers who were ahead of him have now fallen behind him. So he's back, or he's into the first round. But I have no interest here. I don't know what else to say. He's not big. He's not fast. He's a slot receiver who's not particularly explosive. He's never had a high target volume. What I say his career high is 58 catches. I don't know how they don't have the targets listed, but
76 in 2022.
Well, that's not exactly like Cooper Kupp. When he did it as a slot receiver, it was what? 150 targets, 160 targets. It was fucking monster volume. Like this guy maybe has 100 target potential as a ceiling, but if he has 100 targets, I don't know that gets him 1,000 yards with his play style. It's short area. Like I'm sure he operates great in that little route we just seen Malachi Corley run, but other than that, I'm not in.
Let me back you up and take your side before I know Jesse argues against it, and that's totally fine.
I thought you were going to argue. I thought you were the McConkey guy.
No, listen, I like Ladd McConkey for sure, but there's a lot of plenty of red flags. If we're picking someone a bust, I pick my guy. I'm not picking Ladd, but I'll take your side on this one and say this. Ladd McConkey, for someone who was drafted in the second round by his team, the Los Angeles Chargers sure are doing a lot of hedging. They took Brendan Rice in the 7th round. We don't have the draft capital. That's fine. They signed, they also took Cornelius Johnson in the 7th round, who, yeah, whatever. They also signed 2 other free agents. They're looking at MVS. They already signed DJ Chark. They have Joshua Palmer and Quentin Johnson on the roster, right? And we know that Jim Harbaugh is going to come in and want to run the ball. Will he be able to run the ball with a crappy stable of running backs that he's assembled in Los Angeles? I don't know. We know Justin Herbert can sling it, and if he's able to develop a rapport with McConkey, that's great. I think it's also nice to see the fact that they don't really have an established tight end that works in their favor. Austin Eckler is gone, so they don't really have an established guy to catch the football. At the same time, I don't think there's any guarantee that Ladd McConkey is immediately better than, say, Josh Palmer was in this offense last year, simply because Palmer knows it, right? Quentin Johnson has all the tools. We didn't see it, but it's possible he develops in year 2 and they use him differently. Can Ladd succeed? I think he can, but I do think that there's a lot of potential issues here in Los Angeles, especially for an end of the first round drafted rookie wide receiver.
Everything you just said leads me to believe I want a ton of shares of Kamani Vidal in that offense.
Yeah, they got the Ravens, Wester's bodies injuries. I think he's interesting profile. On a per target, per route basis, his profile is elite. Overall, his profile sucks. There's a lot of injury involved with that, but I think the bigger issue is he was fighting with Bowers, playing Sam role. I know we talk about him being a slot guy a lot. He played 76% of the time outside, so he's more or less kind of that flanker who's going to go back and forth. I'm looking at their roster right now. I don't know who the X wide receiver is. Is it Quentin Johnson? That's a terrible idea. Is it DJ Chark? Good luck with that. Is it Josh Palmer? They have so many slot hybrid guys, and McConkey fits into that.
It's not Ladd McConkey as the.
They brought in MVS. Don't worry.
He can stretch the target. Like they're gonna have MVS and Chark just running deep and opening it up for these guys. Yeah, he's interesting. Like, I get it. It's not a clean profile, and that's why he's kind of going in the range he is. He got a massive boost going to the Chargers. I think anybody would get. Same thing with kind of Worthy to the Chiefs and Thomas to another point to the Jaguars. These guys are getting significant boosts because there's no target competition. Who's going to get it? I just think his profile is a lot safer than some of those guys in the range. But yeah, if we're talking upside, I don't know the theoretical upside is there. So yeah, I'm with you. If you want to take the other guys and go for the ceiling shot, 100% with it. Like, I get it. It's just it's risky.
And here's the other thing we talked about: Brian Thomas Jr. being the 10th in the last 30 years in his RAS score. Lad McConkey, I don't have where he finished, but he was a 9.34, no slouch, elite speed, the 40-yard dash, elite 10-yard split, and elite shuttle and 3-cone. So the guy can run a route, the guy can move quickly, and the guy can change direction fast. So, I mean, do with that what you will. But yeah, am I out on Lad McConkey? No, but I do understand if people are.
Yeah, you said Christian Kirk earlier, and he could play some role because he's going to stretch it. He has a lot of explosive plays, so he can do that role for the Chargers. I don't know if he's going to be that good at it, but I think that's kind of how the role they want him to play.
And that is a wrap on finding this year's Jalen Reagor. We went with McConkey, Brian Thomas Jr., and Malachi Corley. So take your shot there at which one you think is a bust and avoid him. We will be back tomorrow. I think we are doing this year's Clyde Edwards-Helaire. So check back tomorrow for that, or head over to fantasyfootballuniverse.com for all of our content, and follow us anywhere on social media. Like, comment, rate, review, subscribe, all that fun stuff, and we would greatly appreciate it. Take care, everyone, and have a great day.